Welcome to another edition of Dish It Out. Of course, the one, the only Chef Doug Fee is with myself, Frank Benowitz. And joining us today, look at this smiling profile of a man here. We have the one, the only, well, I guess we're all one and onlys, but this is truly the one and only. Look at these dishes he's going to do today, the one and only Chef Bobby Trigg.
And Chef's going to he's going to show us all how to make these wonderful dishes. And so what's on our menu today, Chef?
Well, today we're going to do two of the appetizers from my book, the Ferry House Cookbook, Taste of Princeton, featuring firecracker shrimp and also crab margarita. And then we're going to do scallops. It was inspired by the culinary class that I got to judge a couple of weeks ago, featuring a combination of scallops and barbecue pork.
So we have all that ahead for you on Dish It Out. Stay with us. You're going to like it. So now we're in the kitchen here with Chef Bobby Trigg from the Ferry House. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
And you were telling Frank and I you have a couple of appetizers on hand for us to start with today.
That's right. We're going to start first with one of my signature appetizers called firecracker shrimp. It's a shrimp that's rolled in a wonton, and then it's fried, and then I set it on a plate with an Oriental barbecue sauce. So you ready to get going?
Let her rip.
These are the ingredients that I have, and I sort of laid them out the way I like to try to make the whole dish. I start out with some fresh ginger and some garlic, and then what I like to do, a lot of times like with garlic and ginger, it's very raw tasting. So what I like to try to do is to take orange juice, which is an acid, and then some pineapple juice. And so this sort of will start the maceration process right off the bat.
What was that word?
Maceration.
Okay.
I thought he was going to throw a little bit of Marianne in there. You mentioned ginger, you know.
That's right.
So Skipper coming later, right?
So what's that going to do to our ginger?
This is going to start to get it to cook, so without putting it over heat.
Well, you mentioned to Doug and I that all of your recipes, well, at least the two recipes that you're starting off the appetizer, are actually in your Ferry House cookbook, correct?
Correct.
So
That's right.
they'll see that it says the ingredients and also the methodology.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So if they followed along, go to the restaurant, buy the book, you'll be in good shape. Next, one of my favorite ingredients is hoisin sauce. Hoisin sauce is some fermented black soybeans, and it's usually mixed in with a little bit of chili sauce into it.
That's wonderful stuff.
Yeah, and then this is soy sauce. This is the salty end of it, which I like to use just to give it that oriental flair to it, and mix these two together. Then I'll add some chili jalapeno to it. This gives it a little bit of heat, and then the zest of an orange, which completes the other portion of the orange that we had before.
And I don't see any of that that pith in there, which is nice, right?
Right, we cut that all out first. And then we finish it with some fresh cilantro and a touch of mint. Usually what we do is let this sit for a bit. Now for the shrimp end of it, what we do first is, I should take that.
So we got some good looking shrimp here.
Yeah, these are
Did you catch
some
them yourself?
16 20. I wish. Put a little touch of the sauce just to give it a little flavor first. And then we take a little egg mixture. I'll get them ready to roll. And then we roll these up.
Nice.
Okay, and then what we do is we have them like this, and what we do is we take them and we dip them into cornstarch. And what we do here, here's how it looks.
Almost like Julia Child with the magic oven. Here they are,
Exactly.
Chef.
Exactly. So we have them this way, and then what we do is we skewer them, so to make the presentation a little bit more interesting. For the
So
plate.
our shrimps don't curl up like they usually do when they
Correct.
cook. All right.
So, and what we'll do is we'll drop them in a fryer.
And the cornstarch, you're putting on that to add some
It-
crispness or texture to
Yes,
it?
exactly. It'll help crisp up the shrimp.
Which in actuality, a lot of Asian cuisine uses cornstarch, whether it be a tenderizing agent in a lot of their beef with broccoli or things like that.
Correct.
So,
And the other thing is when it sits in the refrigerator, it doesn't get all soggy and stuff. It keeps the moisture out of it
Okay.
from that end.
Outstanding.
So then we'll do our little plate presentation.
Wait a minute. Are you getting ready to plate up food for me already?
Yeah.
I love this guy.
We put a little of the sauce down. And then we add some accents.
Some accents.
And this is
Some
red
drapes.
red pepper oil, and this is yellow pepper oil. And you're going to have to invite me back to learn how to make these.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, the alternative would be just go to the Ferry House and order it.
Absolutely.
So
That-
now,
could
that's what
sample
everyone
it
out there
again.
is going to do, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll get the Ferry House cookbook. Or do you have these items in there as well?
yes.
The yellow pepper and the red pepper?
Yes, they're in the
But-
staples section.
Nonetheless, we'll invite you back either way.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, just to complete it, I like to just add a little fresh green onion on the plate as well. Okay.
Very colorful.
Now, this is going to be the base of getting to hold these shrimp up once they fry. We got a minute here.
How many of those shrimp did you put in there?
I
4?
put 4.
Yeah, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a party of one at your restaurant where you actually had
Frank, you're your own party, okay?
exactly
So
servers
no
are
need to
coming
worry.
out
Yeah.
and just serving me right off the? That'd be a wonderful party.
Well, now, are you doing catering now as well?
Yes, we cater. Ferry House goes to, you can come to our house or we'll go to yours. So, especially
Yeah.
the Christmas season gets a little bit busy right now with that.
Are you going to add that to your chef coat or a shirt? Come to our house or we'll come to
I'll
yours.
work that down in my sleeve
It's almost
eventually.
like yeah, we have the sleeves, right? We always have room for you at some point when you're
Okay.
ready.
Okay, good. Okay, got some nice color on these guys. What we do, we whack them first so they put this one in wrong, but that's good. So the customer doesn't have to fight with the shrimp
So
to get them off.
Loosens them up a little bit.
Exactly.
Very nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Good attention to detail there.
And then a little Asian slaw to go on top of this. And this is just some Napa cabbage, little sweet chili sauce, lime, mint. a
Is
little
the
touch of
slaw
cilantro.
recipe in your book?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
See that? They'll have all the
Yeah.
tools at home. They just need to get your book. And
And there you go.
that's
That's firecracker shrimp.
If that tastes half as good as it looks, we're in business.
absolutely.
All right, so we're back here at our beautiful facilities at Mercer County Community College in our Culinary Center, here with my assistant Frank Benowitz and Chef Bobby Trigg for our second appetizer of the day.
Okay.
So what do we got?
We're going to do crab margarita.
Excellent.
Crab margarita started probably for the love of tequila from a bunch of us, and the love of crab. Crab is very rapidly available all over this area, so it's especially in fine dining. You see a lot of this. People love it. I like the state of it because it's it's served chilled, and when you're working in a restaurant and stuff, one of the big things that you want, as you know, is to come up with stuff that's going to take pressure off the hot side, and to have a appetizer that sells from the cold side is a real big relief for a lot of the kitchen people. So it works out pretty well. So to start this dish, instead of using the typical rim of salt, we dip a martini glass. I like the shape of the martini glass better than the classic margarita glass. We dip it, and then we dip it into some Cajun seasoning, so it's sort of like a twist on that. Okay, and then we take some guacamole, avocado. It's really a combination of avocado and pico de gallo. What we do first, though, with the pico de gallo, a good secret for people to know, is you take when you chop the onions, you add maybe a little lemon and a little lime to it first, so it starts to cook the onion into it. So that's the good maceration word
There we
for the
go.
day.
Yes.
There's the maceration. And that's in your book as well?
Yes,
to,
it is.
To tell
Mhm.
that, so it's no secret whether you're seeing it here on Dish It Out or whether you read it in Chef Trigg's cookbook, you will be able to do this at home.
Correct.
And if not, again, as Chef Fee said, they can go on down to the Ferry House and enjoy
And
this.
get it. Okay, so then we set this aside for a second, and then we go to our crab. We take the crab, and we add some chopped peppers, This is a combination of red peppers, yellow peppers, and a little touch of green pepper. And then we'll add a little bit of cilantro to it.
I was saying before to you that it's so colorful it almost looks as if you did some brunoise of Swedish fish.
Right. We'll give that a try in one of the next dishes.
Yes.
And then I hit it with a little bit of black pepper and then a little touch of salt. This is a combination. This is the traditional margarita. This is 2 parts tequila, 1 part triple sec, and 1 part lime. And what we do is we just add a little of this, depending upon how much tequila in this you like. For my friends, I usually add an extra little dip. So we'll do that. And then we just give it a little toss. So then when we go to plate the dish, this is our little goof. We call these bunny ears. And they're
can see why.
fried flour tortillas,
Okay.
just to give it a little bit of a look.
Or if we'd rather plug Mercer County Community College and our culinary programs here, so come and see us online, mccc.edu/HRIM. Just
Wow,
saying
again,
that.
is that a typical portion? That's a very
This
generous
is, this,
portion.
is a, this is an appetizer portion.
Wow.
So this is a 5-ounce glass, but we fill part of it with avocado.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then
Well, that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
We're going to have to try that soon.
Are you
I'm ready.
kidding me?
We're going
would
to come
you like
back.
to touch the margarita.
Yeah. We need a bigger picture, though, Bobby.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to serve up an entree, so stay tuned. All right, and we are back with Chef Bobby Trigg and my co-host Frank Benowitz, and it's time for the entree portion. So what do we have lined up now?
Okay. What we're going to do some scallops and a unique combination featuring barbecue pork. Reason why I wanted to feature barbecue pork is because I was here at Mercer County Community College to judge the finals. I believe
That's
it
right,
was.
for our advanced culinary class, they had to do a
Right.
capstone project menu.
And one of the kids, or one of the groups, got to serve some barbecue pork, so I wanted to show you a version of mine. So hopefully the kids in the class will get to see this, and they can see how it's executed in a different way.
So it's safe to say that by you coming here, as you've done in the past, and we greatly appreciate that, it actually provided some inspiration for you
That's
for this
right.
particular dish.
That's right. So I thought that this would be a good way to showcase how I do something, and also for a variation of a theme for the kids that are in the class as well.
Absolutely.
So to begin, I want to get the sauce going first. I chose a non-oak Chardonnay. It's quite nice. It's from California. And
California.
yeah. I want to try to get this
Hot
going down.
stuff.
Hot stuff. And
California's on fire.
yes, add some shallots to it. And then another unique ingredient that I like to use is some yuzu.
Now,
Which is
Yuzu.
It's a citrus. It's like almost like a Japanese tangerine, and it has the flavors in this sort of remind me of a combination of lime, orange, and grapefruit. So add a little touch of this.
I was thinking you were going with Uzo.
Oh,
I guess that's for later.
yes, that's for later. That's for when we go to Greece. Okay. I'll try to get this reduced down a little bit, but while I talk about it, I wanted to talk about the pork. The way that we do the pork at the Ferry House is we first cold smoke it, and then we take a rub. We make a mixture of rub of salt, sugar, cayenne, cumin, different chili powders, and then we let it sit overnight.
Okay.
And then usually what we do is we cook it in a combination of vegetable stock and barbecue sauce. So it cooks down nice and slow for hours, and then we pull it apart. What I did today, so you could see, because of the experience that we had in the class of not having sauce or anything, I wanted to show you how much flavor you can get out of smoke and also the dry rub.
Sure.
So
Cool.
it's kind of a neat thing. Hopefully you have a fork.
Now, well, of course we have a fork.
Okay,
Are you
good.
kidding? You don't have to ask me that question. Now, is this a recipe that's in your book? I know that this was inspired by the class.
This is not in the book, but what's interesting is the barbecue sauce that we're going to use for this is in the book.
Okay, so they can
So-
watch along and then
Exactly.
prepare the barbecue sauce and,
Right.
and maybe be inspired and do their own thing as well.
Exactly. What I always learned from going to school, from going to culinary school, is to take a theme of what you learn from somebody and then to make it grow into your own.
Right.
Like take
Right.
something and just a variation of a spin on something and you see a part of a dish that you really like, and learn how to execute it real well.
I know a little bit about your background because you've been here and you've shared it with some of our classes before, and I know that you started off in Wall Street and following the Grateful Dead.
Yes.
And then that somehow led you into a career of culinary. Would you like to explain a little bit about that?
Well, the best part about working on Wall Street was I was on the buying side. So all these brokers out there would entertain you and want to get you to buy their stocks and buy all of whatever, you know, they had for sale. But they took me to a bunch of different restaurants in New York City and stuff, and that's where I got exposed to fine dining. So that inspired me to get out of the rat race and go to cooking school. And I changed careers when I was 27. So
There you go.
it's never too late to start over.
No,
That's what I thought.
we get a lot of those career changers here.
Right.
We've had
So-
graduates as old as 72
Okay.
here, believe it or
Yeah.
not. So
All right, so
So-
this is kind of reducing down. I don't know
Yeah, it
how
keeps
well we
going
can get
down a little bit more.
but how much do we want to reduce this down, Bobby?
Almost by half. This will go. See, what's classic, like, one of the things that I did learn, I worked for a French chef for a while. I did an apprenticeship, and I actually worked a year and a half for free, just to learn. It was Jean-Pierre Tardet, who was the original chef of Le Bec Fin in Philadelphia.
excellent.
And then he opened up his own place called Jean-Pierre's in Newtown. And I spent a lot of time working there. And the big thing is to try to understand him, because I'm not very familiar with French and stuff. But the classic, the reason why I think French food has always had that heavy knownness to it is because they reduce things down really to the extreme. And then they add cream. Then they add tons of butter. So what I learned to take the theme of this and to lighten it up a little bit, but to use the same techniques. This is ready to take a fork into. But I took the same techniques and then did a little lighter approach to it. So like, as you see, like Jean-Pierre would let this go down a lot further than I would. But this to me is pretty good to go. You can see it starts to get a nice little golden color.
Right.
It's looking very nice. Now let's back up for 1 second while you hold that thought. What'd you say about a fork?
Okay, now this is the barbecue pork. This is the flavors
This
right
is
now.
the pre-sauce.
Yes, there's no sauce in it, but you could taste the smoke, and you could taste a little bit of the dry rub in it, which is kind of a neat thing.
Well, it's plenty of flavor
Right.
there even before you add your sauce.
Right.
Very
That's-
delicious.
So now we'll add a little touch of cream to this.
So instead of now, are you? I was going to ask if you're going to finish it off like a Monte Aubert with a little bit of the butter, but you're not using a whole lot of fat in there, right?
No.
There we go.
He
Chef.
says as a whole plate of butter comes.
This is a quarter pound of butter.
Quarter pound.
But
It's a small beurre blanc.
exactly. But the big trick with beurre blanc is to try to infuse this. Is to make a small quantity is real tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to make sure that butter looks nice and chilled,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. It was just chilled. Okay. Now this, what we'll do is we'll hit this with some of the barbecue sauce right now, just to give it a little.
Do I
flavor.
need a new fork after that? Or I have to wait?
Nah, you don't. This is all for you anyway. So now,
It's all for me.
some-
Hear that?
Now-
Don't get carried away, Chef.
I like this guy. This guy, he talks
Add a
my
little bit
language.
more.
I don't
Okay.
give a crap if he speaks
now let's
French
just
or
keep
not.
this.
He
You know what?
speaks. He speaks Frank Benowitz. That's
Let's
what he
keep
speaks.
this on hold.
Okay, nice hot oven.
Okay, now the scallops. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that's a
Okay.
that's a nice
This
size
is
scallop
in-
there.
Yeah, these are diver scallops. A lot of times you can see how fresh they are with the little muscle that's on them. Always take the muscle off. That makes them a
It's-
little bit tight.
That's a pet peeve of some of ours having that side muscle left on
Yes.
there.
Right. I like to season them generously with some black pepper. A little touch of salt. Okay. See how hot it is. We're ready to go.
All right.
Okay.
Scalloped barbecue pork. Does it get much better than that?
Well, you
Beurre
know,
blanc.
For blanc, yes. Add
Okay.
some, as the saying goes, put a little
Okay.
butter in it.
See how hot this can get on this. Try
Now,
not to
is
cramp
this
your pan.
something that you're going to be serving at the restaurant now?
Yeah, this is. I've been running this for special for the last week and a half since I've been here.
Oh, very nice.
So this has been going over pretty well.
Ah.
Actually, I started this once before with a little bit of barbecue short rib, and I
Okay.
did it at a James Beard House dinner that I did.
Oh, excellent.
And that was the first time I sort of played with the combination a little bit.
Our invitations must have been lost in the mail.
That must have been it.
Yeah, that was before I got invited here to Mercer County. So, now what you want to try to do is you just want to try to let don't play with the scallops. Let the scallops just cook, especially if they're nice and big. You want to try to get as much color on this as possible.
Yeah, students tend to want to poke at things and,
They
you know, is
poke
it
and
done
they
yet?
flip too early. And you can see, you start to see, they'll start to get some good color. Now on these things, a lot of times when I cook on these things is I try to move the pan so each of the scallops, each of the quadrants of the pan get a little bit of color on it, a little bit more.
Yeah, even out the heat a little bit.
Right.
Now, that could also be on your shirt that we just spoke of. Is you know, don't play with your scallops, along with you come to our house or we'll come to yours.
Right.
See, that's the new Ferry House motto there. if you
Right.
will.
Yeah.
Don't play with your food. These are looking pretty good.
And what size scallops are these?
These are U10, meaning there's under 10 per pound.
I would say so at that size.
Yeah.
Right. And these are real rich. So the combination of this, actually, like when you put 4 scallops on a plate with some barbecue pork and some mashed potatoes and some asparagus and sauce, you're looking at like almost like a 10-ounce, you know, little bit of meal. This
Right.
this will fill you. Okay. You can see you got some nice color on there.
Beautiful.
Now, do you do a lot of testing and a lot of trial and error when you think of these flavor combinations?
A lot of times I do them at home. I'm my biggest guinea pig. I think that's the best way to be.
Okay.
So
I-
this, I'm going to finish these now in the oven, and we'll be ready to plate.
all right.
Very nice. See that pork in there?
So this,
Okay.
just keep a little bit and turn on.
Now,
the
was this
heat.
a shoulder or a butt or?
This was pork shoulder.
Okay.
Now our sauce is looking pretty good here.
Yes, indeed.
How's that special
Let's go
doing
back
at the
here.
restaurant right now? Is it popular?
Oh yeah, been selling tons.
See that? And it's a beautiful thing because it was inspired by students here at Mercer County College. And that's the thing with food. We can receive our inspiration anywhere. And
Oh, exactly.
obviously, we want people to come here to Mercer County College and take a class, whether it be credit or non-credit, and also receive some inspiration.
Exactly. That's
Now
what
we
it's all
actually have
about.
this boiling, right? A
Right,
lot
you
of
boil
people
it.
will get very paranoid. I got cream in there; it's boiling.
Okay, a lot of times, like the way that I try to look at it, and I try to tell kids when they're making the sauce, the way that I learned is you really want to see the bubbles get as big as almost like I call them fish eyes. So they're looking like the size of a red snapper. Like it's always good when you have something in your head to make it says, okay, I'm ready to go, and add the butter. A lot of times, what they'll tell you to do is first to add the butter slowly, one piece at a time.
I don't have the patience for that either. I'm with you there.
You know, so a lot of times, like I like to let it go like this, and then I'll just get the butter and I'll whisk it. And
There
put
we
it
go.
Just throw it all in there.
Once we're ready with the whisk,
And then
we're good.
usually I keep it off the heat. I keep it off the heat and stir. And then if I look like it's not whisking, if it looks like it's going to break, meaning break by separating, if you could see the milk of, the fat of the butter start to separate, looking like drawn butter is a good way to describe it.
Yeah, those little beads of fat floating around in there.
Right. So this looks like it's really good to go. So now I can turn this heat basically off. And you want to keep stirring until it's completely melted. That is the key. Okay. Now we're ready to plate.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
Those are words I like to hear.
Okay.
Ready to plate, ready to eat.
I'll give you an example of how we serve it at the restaurant.
Okay.
This is some mashed potatoes.
And this is just one serving again, right?
This is one serving.
These are pretty generous servings over at the Ferry
Mhm.
House.
Oh, I don't want you to go home hungry. That's the worst. The worst thing in the world is when people say you don't get enough food.
Well, that's sometimes synonymous with French cuisine, but with
I-
your flair on there, I doubt they could say they're going home hungry.
Okay. Now this is for the people who like extra barbecue sauce. You get a little hit of that.
Absolutely.
And then you take the pork. You get a nice little combination of the pork to sit in here.
You're not kidding. This is a special.
This is work.
This is enough food right now, probably for the average customer.
They when I brought this into the kitchen, they like looked at me like I was nuts.
Is that it?
Oh my gosh, what is he doing to us? Okay.
Now, how many of these would you sell on an average night with the special? I realize
weekends.
it's only been on a little while, but
Weekends around 20 or so. 25, depends. It really depends on the wait staff. Some waiters are better at selling specials than others, but I have a pretty good staff that have been here for a while, and they can sell.
I think if this walks through your dining room, I think this may be selling itself, quite honestly.
Right.
Exactly.
And then finish it this with a touch of sauce. Just over this. Now this gives it a little bit of the citrus.
Kind of cut through some of that richness that's there.
Yeah, and it also like makes it a little different. And this is what I like, sort of like have the flavored pop. And there you have it.
That looks incredible.
So
Wow.
that's kind of a different flavors. And it's sort of like what I try to do at the Ferry House.
Outstanding.
nice.
That looks wonderful. We're going to sample that when we come back. And we will be back in, if I can keep Frank away from this dish for 30 seconds.
I heard you say sample.
We'll be back to try this in just a moment.
Yes,
Stay
we
with
will.
us. All right, so Frank, we made it to your favorite portion of the show, when we
Right.
actually get to sample what we made today. Yes, yes.
And thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
So it's almost like, where do we start here? And, you know, a lot of, Frank's going to start with the scallops, obviously.
Might as well start with what's in front of you. It's all
You
up for
said
grabs.
this was
so-
all for me. So you remember that out there, don't you?
All
But
right.
I'll share.
Okay.
All right.
Share. You
So-
guys can split this scallop.
So now I'm looking at our crab margarita, and I'm, you know, I got the tequila there. Do I eat this with a fork or a spoon?
I'd eat it with a fork.
Okay.
How come there's
You're
not
the
a straw
expert.
in it?
I didn't think of that.
No?
So, okay.
All right, well, if you're starting with that, I am going to start with this. But don't worry, I'll leave you a bite.
Wow, that's amazing. The flavors that mix in there. I'm usually not a big tequila fan, but that's wonderful. The flavors work in there. The richness of the crab. I'll save the bunny ears for you, Frank, okay?
Well, the bunny ears are really good to pick up the avocado,
Ah,
which is a good thing.
That is a good
very
thing.
good.
You know.
That is ingenious.
So, you know, you get to that at the end. And speaking of the end, we want to thank you, Chef Bobby Trigg from the Ferry House, for joining us here on Dish It Out. We look to see you again next time. Thanks for joining us.